Hey y'all, it's Nail Stamping Art Nurse, and I am working on my SheModern Saturday Father's Day nails. So, we're going to do some stamping. I'm using SheModern Sticky Sky Semi-Gel Stamper Opaque. My honey's favorite color is blue. So yes, I am doing these for my husband and not my dad, who has passed, unfortunately. I'm going to use that one later, but not right now. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off in just a second. Always want to clean your plate and your scraper with acetone, not your stamper. Look at that. With the SheModern Semi-Gel Opaques, you need to let them sit for just a little bit longer on your stamp. They'll stay sticky, and hers are actually sticky even after you cure if you want to add some pigment or sanding sugars, glitters. Okay. And here are my base nails. I have a gorgeous blue by La Catrina Nails, Texas, and the little bit of a magnetic on top as well. Ooh, I almost forgot. I was going to take this little crown off. Not because of anything other than I'm going to be replacing it with something more appropriate for my honey. So, and this says, Dad, you matter. I'll put that right down here. Dad, you matter. Look at that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick 30-second cure while I get the other, clean that the other stamp ready. Okay, so I did that because you do have to cure the semi-gels. And I wanted to mention, if you're interested in how I did the base or this little stand, I will have posted a short earlier that you can go back and look at. Now, SheModern also has air dry stamping, and this is just an opaque gray. And because my honey is not into the business look, the ties, the hats, the crown would have been okay, but I wanted to make it a little more personal to my husband. So I am actually just going to change that out with this little bitty wizard's hat, sorcerer hat. Let's see. See that? I'm not thrilled with how that picked up right there. Actually, that's pretty dang good. Of course, the rest of it came out pretty nice. Look at those fine lines that it picked up. But I have my little sticky roller over here. You always want to have it to clean up your stamps. You can also use tape. I'm going to do this again. I'm going to try to get a better pickup now. You notice I'm using a little tiny stamp here. So, and this is a Pretty Fingers by Robin plate. And it says designed by Lily, who is Robin's daughter, very talented. Try not to scrape that quite so at an angle. Let's see if that will pick up. This was the hat I wanted right here. Now, since this is air dry, not the semi-gel, I can actually move a little bit faster. I don't want to get any of those extra little bibs and bobs on it. Okay. And I'm just going to put that right where that crown was. This is Dad, You Matter with a little sorcerer hat. This plate is very deeply etched though, so that is a good thing. All right, so moving on to the next. Okay, I'm going to work on this nail next. This is actually the middle nail, but I am going to want to be doing some chrome on it, so it has a really cool lightning strike there, but I'm going to use the SheModern Clear Nonstick Matte Chrome Resist on top of it, so when I go to chrome, it will not stick to my nail. So I'm just going to put this chrome top on it real fast. They also, of course, have a glossy top coat, but for chroming the stamp, I need the nail not to have that chrome stick to it. All right, since I'm going to be chroming this dragon, I'm going to do the chrome white semi-gel, and the image I want is a little bit big, so I'm going to use my flexi stamper to see if I can shrink it down just a little bit for this nail. This is another Pretty Fingers by Robin plate. You note I've been putting the polish, scraping my scraper there between the two because it is a semi-gel. Look at that. Look at that pickup. It's fine lines, everything. Semi-gel, excuse me. And I don't want to just leave it sitting on the paper towel because then it doesn't air dry and it would be getting all over me. Let me clean this off. Apparently I didn't do a good job earlier. And you want your edges nice and clean so they scrape better. This scraper is from Maniology. Any scraper that you like to use would be fine. This was one of my very first ones when I started stamping back in October. And I have just kind of, I don't know, kept it as sentimental, and it scrapes well. Okay, so I'm going to just release this down, and in fact, so I can see a little bit better, I'm actually going to take the bottom part off so that I can see where I am stamping on the nail. And that'll fit beautifully. It may have fit before, but I wanted to make sure. And I waited a little bit like you do with your semi-gels. There you go, look at that. Beautiful. I'm going to cure that. And with SheModern, you can actually cure longer than your 15 seconds, whatever is required. I'm going to keep this out because some of my other designs are also. I tend to at least cure for 30 seconds, but if you cure for a minute or longer, her chromes don't. Her chrome stamping gel, which I'm going to close up, and her chrome still work. I am going to use one of her newest ones. It is a dark brass color shift chrome. I'm going to make it a brass metallic dragon because in D&D those are the benevolent ones. Brass dragons like people to talk with, listen to their conversations, and my husband does like to talk about his D&D. And I like to talk about my nails, so I guess it is all fitting. And these are, I don't know if you can see all those, these are my chromes. She had a sale recently. She has semi-annual sales, but even when she didn't, I had a bunch that I already had. But, yeah, I love me some SheModern chromes and these little bottles, and you'll see why here in just a second. So like I said, I'm going to do the dark brass color shift. I'm actually going to lift this paper towel up because if I make a mess, which I tend to do, I don't want it to be all over, getting on everything. So a little goes a very long way. So I am going to just put a couple little, and you see how nice and neat that was? I'm not taking a lid off and having it go everywhere, which if y'all have worked with chromes, you know happens. You know what happens, and I need to get one of my little eyeshadow brushes as I knock other stuff over. And I am going to Just kind of pat this in real quick, and then I'm going to do the lovely chrome rubbing. Now, her sticky stamping polish is perfect for pigments and glitters and things like that because they have a stronger sticky, but for the chrome, you don't want it that strong because you want to get that nice sheen instead of glittery look. Look at that. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. And I'm just going to kind of go in with my finger, actually this one, because I think the heat, and I'm not, it's just maybe in my head, but I think the heat actually does something, and your finger's much warmer than that. You see that? Let me see. Let me get closer. Hopefully it's focusing. I'm trying to find it. Dragon. Which is how our grandson, the light of my husband's life, says when they play dragon, it's dragon. I'm going to go ahead and make sure to brush that off nice and well. Gorgeous. Okay, on to the next one, loves. Okay, I'm going to try to make an aura nail with using the La Catrina Nails TX Dulce de Coco on this one, because I'm going to try a special effect with the wizard. Okay, so I'm going to be trying a special effect. Like I said, I kind of did the center in a milky white, and I'm going to use SheModern's clear to black, cold to hot changing. This is one of the air dries. She does have these on her website, and there are semi-gels as well. I just don't have the semi-gel in black because I already had it in the air dry. So I'm using my shrinking stamper. I don't know if you can see that. It is, the changing colors tend to be kind of jelly and sheer. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that off. You may be able to see a little bit better without it being so dark. I'll clean it up just a little bit and then stamp it because, like I said, this is an air dry, not semi-gel, so I have to move a little bit faster. Look at that. You can see it right there. Nice. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to be making a set of dies on the nail. I probably won't be able to get them all on their nail, but I'm going to use this chrome white because I am going to be chroming over it in this gorgeous color shift glitter peacock color, which may not stand out remarkably against the blue, but it will stand out. And I almost forgot I need to matte coat my nail, so I'm going to do that. Be right back. Okay, so I'm going to start with the 20-sided die and probably will stick that in the middle of the nail. It's still finishing up the cure from the matte top coat, but like I have mentioned with the semi-gel, I do not have to move near as quickly as, look at that, as with the air dry. Let me check this out. It's all nice and matted. Shrink my stamper down. Make sure I have this how I want it. I'm gonna place that right kind of in the middle. It may be off by a tad. I'm gonna cure that for 30 seconds because I'm going to chrome in between. I'm going to chrome in between die. because I don't want to mess up each of them, even though I'm going to have them all the same color like you would have with a traditional set of gaming dice. Next, I think I'm going to go with this one right here. Make sure that's all the way up. Kiss the plate. Very nice. That was one of the things I needed to learn when I first started stamping was I tend to roll, but this stamper is very sticky and does well with just the press down, but too much pressure. I try to like really push down on the stamp, and you don't want to do that because that kind of squishes all the paint out. So you have to have a gentle light touch. Okay, there's that one. So this one I'm going to start chroming. So even though it's cured and shouldn't mess up when I add other ones, I just want to be on the really safe side. Okay. So I'm going to chrome in between, like I said. Ooh, and that really does kind of show up nice. It was good that I used white, because if I used black, it would have been even darker, and I do want it to kind of show up. Look at that color shift. I'm loving that color shift. Okay, cleaning off the nail, because I'm going to add more dice. Bloop. Loop. I'm going to add this one now. And this way. Oh, I need to shrink it down. Hello. Looks like I can. I'll put that right over here. Look at that. Yay! Okay, so I went ahead and stamped these other, oh, my point's missing, these other die. And this is the last of my die to stamp. Try to squeeze it on over here, or at least partially. And I'm going to cure this as well, and then I'm going to chrome it. And that'll show you that the chrome will stick even if it's over 60 seconds, because each time I cure these, then it adds time on to that. And these all were from, let me throw that in here. These all were from Maniology M016, M16 plate. Very cute. Okay. So we're going to chrome them once they're out. Okay, now I'm going to do a beard, because my husband grew his beard out for our grandson specifically, and I'm going to start with this opaque gray, and this is an air dry. Wait, no. I'm going to start with this sticky white semi-gel stamping glitter. It is gorgeous, but my husband is very salt and peppery, so I want to give him a little of that salt, but look at that. Oh, so gorgeous. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this one. Ooh, look at that. I have to wait for that semi-gel, so I have to wait for it to dry just a little bit. What am I doing? Clean this off. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do this because I want just a little of this and then I want the gray to come through. So I think I'm gonna hit some of these areas in the beard itself. And then cure that on the stamper. Okay, so I was going to try to reverse stamp that, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use opaque gray and do this again real quick. I think I'm going to try to do a layered stamp, so let's hope that it works. Okay, now this is the air dry, so I don't want to be too long. Here's the nail. I'm going to put it right down here at the bottom. Now I have to let that dry for just a little bit because it is the air dry. Okay, here goes nothing, guys. I'm going to try to layer stamp this. Let me see. I don't think it is exact, but it's not bad. So a little of that gray kind of dulls it down. And then for his gorgeous salty beard. And that is done because the little light in our lives, who is now 4.5, loves Popsy's beard. So I'm trying to figure out what color I'm going to do the next part. Okay, I've decided to go with the chrome yellow. I'm not going to chrome it, but at least I don't think I am because I haven't matted my nail. I could still. No. But I'm going with yellow because our little one's favorite color was first yellow. He had issues saying other stuff, but yellow would always come out super clean, which is funny. But so I am going to do this lovely heart, which makes me think of my husband and our little one. Yes. Okay. Take the time to clean. Sometimes I get my order of operations a little messed up, but since it's semi-gel, you got to let it sit on the stamp for a clean pickup. But I like that so I don't feel as rushed. So nothing wrong with me putting my scraper card on the acetone bottle instead of the cotton. And look, like I had said, I chromed these and they had been cured multiple times and they still have that lovely color shift chrome. I think this is going to be one of my favorite sets I've ever done. Okay, now I have a cat eye heart on there, and I'm going to try to get this kind of close to that and right over that beard that he loves so much. Look at that. You may not be able to see the heart as much now, but that's okay. It's there. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and cure that because that is, like I said, a semi-gel, and I didn't cure it on the stamp like I did the beard. I'll be back. I'm going to try to put Popsy across the top of this nail because on our other nail, opposite nail, we have Dad. on the pinky, and this is the thumb. And so I'm going to try to do Popsy. That's what our little one calls us. I always find it a little more difficult to do. Try to use a little less polish because, yeah, you don't need much for this little bitty letter. Okay. I'm not sure it is as clean, but it's pretty good. Should be able to tell what it is. So I'm going to put this one right here in the middle of the heart. Okay, and we're going to build out from there. And I really am just going to flash cure this. I was going to stick it in, but now I'm just going to flash cure it. That way when I put the other letters on, it doesn't mess up the one I already have. Okay. What? That's curing. I'll just let you know this is a Mutine 18. I'm not sure. I may have gotten it off of Temu or AliExpress. Now the ones with the Father's Day is I think it's like PH Panda, and I got these off of Amazon. Okay, now I'm going to go in with my top coat, the clear non-stick gloss from SheModern, and I'm going to top coat all of these nails, and then I will be back and I'll show you the special effect of our Sorcerer Wizard okay, I'm just going to do the top coat like I said, the gloss. With, if you're using a gel gloss over your stamps, you do not need to protect your stamp per se like you would with regular top coat. However, I will say that with the semi-gel polishes, obviously we cure after we have laid the stamp down, or before if you're doing reverse coloring or something like that. So yeah, much less likely your image is going to smudge, even if you were using regular top coat, which if you're using semi-gel stamping, then you more than likely are going to be using gel top coat. All right, I'll be back. Okay, so I just took these out of the lamp after putting the gloss, and I'm going to go ahead and close up on all of these. Popsy with our little one in the beard, the dice, this one that just looks like an aura nail, the dragon, the Dad You Matter with the little wizard's hat. And then I'm going to stick this on the middle one because I didn't want to go get ice water just for this. And there is the disappearing, reappearing wizard. Super cool. I love this set. Happy Father's Day to my love and to all the dads and parent-like figures who play a role as a dad. Thanks for watching. If you like my content, please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the little bell so you'll be notified anytime I upload anything. I'll be doing nails every Saturday with SheModern Saturday, and I do SheModern once a month as well because, as you can tell, I love their product.